guys. We're in 2026, and we're not just debating personalities. We're debating power. We're debating trade. And we're debating whether the President of the United States has the authority to fight economic battles without waiting on Congress. So when critics say Trump's tariffs were illegal, what are they really saying? Let's dig into it. During his presidency, Donald Trump has imposed sweeping tariffs on China, on steel, and aluminum imports. He has used laws already on the books, Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 and Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974. Now, those laws give the president authority to act on trade if there's a national security concern or unfair trade practices. Congress passed those laws. Presidents before Trump has used them, but not nearly as aggressively. So here's where the 2026 political fight comes in. Now, critics argue Trump stretched the definition of national security. They say steel imports aren't tanks or missiles. They argue he bypassed Congress and concentrated too much power in the executive branch. And supporters, they argue something very different. They say economic security is national security. They say relying on foreign adversaries for steel, aluminum, and supply chains is long-term vulnerability. And they argue Congress already handed that authority to the president decades ago. So was it illegal? U.S. courts largely allowed the tariffs to stand. They did not declare them unconstitutional. Now, internationally, the World Trade Organization ruled against some of the tariffs, but here's the key. The WTO cannot override U.S. sovereignty. It can authorize retaliation, but it cannot rewrite American law. So when you hear illegal, understand this. That word is doing political work. In 2026, this debate isn't really about steel tariffs from years ago. It's about whether a president should have aggressive authority to confront China and reshape global trade, or whether that power should be pulled back and returned more strictly to Congress. It's about executive strength versus legislative control, global trade rules versus national sovereignty, free trade versus protectionism. And depending on who wins in 2026, that balance of power could shift dramatically. Because this isn't about what Trump did. It's about what any future president will be allowed to do. So the real question is this. Do you want a president with broad power to wage economic battles? Or do you want tighter limits on executive authority? That's the conversation we're actually having. Comment and drop your thoughts below, because 2026 isn't just an election year. It's a decision about who controls America's economic future. And I'm Greg with Patriot News. Thanks for listening.